For this day, we will be discussing activity 3 entitled Developing and Maintaining a Formulary. These are the objectives. Number 1, describe the importance of the Philippine National Drug Formulary and discuss the formulary system process. But before we answer the following questions from the activity, let's first discuss what the Philippine National Formulary is, its key roles, as well as its significance. When you say the Philippine National Formulary, it is very important as it serves as the official national reference guide for the essential medicines in the country. So its primary importance stems from its role in promoting number one, rational drug use, ensuring public health accessibility, and guiding government procurement and health financing. Now, let's break down the different roles and the significance of our Philippine National Formulary. Number one, it is our basis for essential medicine selection. Once again, it contains the Essential Medicine List or the EML, which includes medicines that will satisfy the priority healthcare needs of the population or the residents in the Philippines. And in the selection, it should be evidence-based. Now, medicines that are selected in the Essential Medicine List or the EML are based on rigorous evidence of number one, their efficacy, and then their safety and cost effectiveness. So this one ensures that public health system prioritizes and uses the most beneficial drugs. That's number one. And then number two, role of the Philippine National Formulary is to guide or to give guide for government procurement and cost effectiveness. Now, this one is mandated by the law, especially the Executive Number 49 and the Generics Act of 1988. Okay? So, ano yan siya? PNF or the Philippine National Formulary is the mandatory basis for all drug procurements by all government health facilities and entities. Okay? And at the same time, in addition, we have here efficient resource use. So we have limiting government purchases to the essential list ensures the efficient use of our limited public resources, our funds, and this will prevent the purchase of unnecessary or overly expensive drugs. And the PNF will also help maintain a stable as well as affordable supply of key medicines in the country. Now, number three, for the key roles of our Philippine National Formulary, it is the basis for health insurance reimbursement. It is the official reference list for our PhilHealth or the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation for the reimbursement claims or reimbursing the claims for medicines used by beneficiaries in both public and private health facilities. So this one links the PNF directly to the financial protection of the Filipinos. Number four, role of the PNF is to promote rational drug use. It provides crucial information for healthcare professionals, which includes information about proper dosages and administration routes. And then at the same time, it provides also the list of indications, contraindications, and even adverse reactions of the medicines listed in the formulary. And it gives us the guidelines also on the safe and rational use of medicines for managing priority diseases. And by that, it will help us prevent errors. It will guide the prescribers or the physicians, the pharmacists, which are the dispensers, and the administrators of health facilities to prevent medication error and ensure that the most appropriate treatment is given. Okay, so in essence, the Philippine National Formulary is a critical tool or instrument for the Department of Health to achieve its goal for providing universally accessible, cheaper, and quality essential drugs to all Filipinos. Okay, so again, that is the key roles or the significance of our Philippine National Formulary. Now, let's start with the answers to the activities in your manual. Number one, read the general guide to prescribing and prepare a flow chart of the rational approach to therapeutics. So I have here a flow chart, step by step, for the rational prescribing. I will just be correcting some technical errors or typographical errors in the flow chart. But nevertheless, I will be discussing this one. Okay? So, this one, we have the following steps. Number one, for the general prescribing is to evaluate the patient and establish a diagnosis. So, step one is defining patient's problem. So in the first step, again, we have here evaluating the patient and establish a diagnosis. This is the first and the most critical step to fully understand the problem. So again, we have to define the patient's problem by establishing an accurate diagnosis or clearly define the patient's symptoms and complaints. And this includes also taking the or collecting patient history, which includes symptoms, comorbidities if there are existing, and then allergies also, allergies with the drug, and even occurrence of previous drug reactions. And then there will also be current or recent medication collection, which includes not just prescription drugs, but also over-the-counter drugs that the patient may be taking, herbal supplements, and even vitamins to check whether there may be a potential drug-to-drug interactions. Step two includes specifying the therapeutic objective. So please follow since in the flowchart, there are typographical errors that I cannot edit anymore. So again, this is the step two here, specify the therapeutic objective. So before choosing the drug, the prescriber should clearly state what he or she intends to achieve with the treatment. Therefore, there should be goal setting, whether the goal is to cure the disease, just like when you give antibiotics for infection, or the goal is just relieving the symptoms, like giving pain medication. Or another example of a goal is to prevent a condition like giving antihypertensive drugs to control the blood pressure of the patient. And lastly, another example is to replace deficiency. So, example, giving insulin to patients who are experiencing hyperglycemia or merong diabetes mellitus. Okay. Now, aside from goal setting, the prescriber should also define a clear endpoint for the monitoring treatment. So, example, of a clear endpoint is like a drop in the blood pressure of the patient, or he or she may take or get the pain score reduction of the patient, or pwede din namang the endpoint is for a clinical resolution of the infection. So again, ulitin ko, step one is to define the problem. So the prescriber should have a clear diagnosis. And then step two, before giving the drug, the prescriber should have a specific therapeutic objective. So there should be a goal setting, and the prescriber should set an endpoint for the therapy. Now, for the step three, we have selection of the appropriate medicine. So the prescriber should choose the best drug for his or her patient, and this should be evidence-based. So the prescriber should select a medicine that is proven effective and safe, and ideally he or she must refer to the National Essential Medicine List in our PNF, or our Philippine National Formulary, or if hindi, basta kunin niya sa recognized na mga clinical guidelines. Now, aside from its evidence-based in the selection, the prescriber should also consider cost effectiveness. So he or she must select the most effective, cost-effective option that will still meet the therapeutic objective. And then, the selection of the drug should be individualized. So it has to be specific for the patient. So the prescriber should choose the best formulation, dose, or frequency, the route of administration, and the duration tailored to that patient's specific needs and conditions. And then step four is to write the prescription. Again, step four is to write the prescription. It has to be clear, and it has to be uh, legible. Okay? So the prescriptions must be legible, and where possible, ngayon kasi, di ba, they are now using pre-printed forms. So nagpa-print na sila ng prescription, and that is to help avoid or prevent medication error. So, in writing the prescription, there are mandatory elements that should be included, like, syempre, the patient's information, his or her name, age, address, and date of prescription is also important. The prescriber's name, signature, as well as his or her license number. Now, aside from both patients and prescribers' information, syempre, drug details should be included. And because we are following the Generics Act, the generic name of the drug should be included. Okay? Aside from that, the strength of the drug, its dosage form, and the quantity to be dispensed are also included. And aside from that, instruction should be clearly written also in the prescription. So, kailangan may instruction for direction of use, like the dose and the frequency and duration of treatment. As much as possible, the prescriber syempre should avoid yung mga dangerous abbreviation that are not understood by patients who are not inclined medically. Okay? And then we have step five, syempre, we have here inform and educate the patient. Okay? So the prescriber should establish partnership with the patient to ensure adherence to the medication. Okay? So there should be proper communication to the patient regarding the prescription. The prescriber should explain the following in clear language, like the name of the medicine and why it is being prescribed to him or her. Or aside from that, the prescriber should also explain how and when that drug is to be taken and for how long. And then included also in the education part is to inform the patient of the expected benefits of the drug as well as the potential and common side effects. Okay? And then also include what to do if a dose is missed or if they are experiencing an adverse effect. The prescriber should really check if there is understanding. Okay? So they have to confirm if the patient understands the instructions, and if hindi, they have to address that. They have to address concerns or queries or yung mga questions ng patient. Okay, so that is the step 5. And then lastly, we have the step 6. The step 6 is monitoring and review of treatment. Okay? So sa monitoring, the prescriber should establish a monitoring plan with about the beneficial effect of the drug, like if the condition of the patient improved or not, and as well as any adverse effect. So, anong gagawin dito? This may include follow-up visits. So, i-communicate yun siya sa patient kung kailan siya babalik for follow-up visit. That is part of the monitoring. And the doctor or the prescriber may also order for a laboratory testing to just check if his or her condition improved with the medication given. Okay? And then based on the results of the monitoring, like after the visit, follow-up visit, or with the laboratory test results, there should be review of the treatment. So, the prescriber may adjust the dose, pwede ding palitan yung drug, or pwedeng stop yung treatment if the set therapeutic objective is not met. Or if harms, syempre may mga adverse reactions. For example, these harms will outweigh the benefits. Okay? So yun yung ating steps in generic prescribing. Right? Now, we have here number 2, draw a flow chart of the formulary process. So this one is the step or the flow chart for our formulary process. Oops, sorry. So we have here the step 1, drug request or review initiation. So in this step, they have to identify first the specific needs. Okay, so a healthcare professional, whether it is a physician or a pharmacist, identifies a new drug or merong new indication for an existing drug, or kailangang need or may kailangan i-review sa current formulary item. So, yan yung unang gagawin. And then, once identified, they have to submit a formal request to the Pharmacy and Therapeutics Committee or an application for consideration by again by the Pharmacy and Therapeutics Committee. Tapos, step 2 in the formulary process after the submission is drug information collection and evaluation. So the Pharmacy and Therapeutics Committee information specialist, usually this one is the pharmacist, will gather information, gather in comprehensive information or yung mga evidence-based na mga data about the drug. So he or she will be preparing a monograph, and in the monograph for the detailed drug information includes the efficacy, like results of yung mga research, like mga high quality clinical trials, like yung mga result ng randomized controlled trial, mga RCTs natin. And then, he or she will also gather evidences about the safety of the drug. So, like, kung merong na-identify na adverse drug reactions, mga information about contraindications or warnings. Now, aside from that, the specialist, or again, usually this is the pharmacist, also gather information about the pharmacological aspect of the drug, like its mechanism of actions, and its pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamic profile. Now, aside from that, included in the information to be gathered is the therapeutic need, like how the drug fills a gap or how the new drug or an existing drug offers an advantage over the agents that are already included in the formulary. Now, the pharmacist or the specialist will also do comparison of the drug's cost. So, kasali dyan yung cost effectiveness. So that includes the cost of acquisition, administration, and monitoring. So i-compare yan yung clinical benefits ng drug to other alternatives. Okay? And then step 3, again, there are typographical error in the flow chart, so please listen for you to correct this one. Step 3, the Pharmacy and Therapeutics Committee will review and deliberate. So, after gathering the information. So, magmi-meet sila and magdi-discuss. So, ang mangyayari, the monograph done by the specialist or the pharmacist is presented, and other clinical experts that are included in the committee may offer additional insights about the drug. And then they will discuss, they will check and balance between clinical benefits, risk, and other harmful effects, as well as yung sa economic na impact. And then they will come up with a decision criteria. So again, the decisions to be made by the Pharmacy and Therapeutics Committee are based on established criteria, which focuses on the drug's yung essentiality, yung effectiveness niya, yung safety profile ng drug, and whether it is cost justifiable or it's cost effective. Okay? So, after that, decision on formulary status. That's the step 4. So, yung mga decisions na pwede nilang gawin is whether the drug will be added to the formulary, kung ma-add man, whether merong mga restrictions or wala. Or, pwede ding hindi talaga nila tanggapin yung bagong drug. So, hindi siya ma-add doon sa formulary. And then, if the drug being deliberated is already in the formulary, the decision may be pwedeng i-remove siya or magkakaroon ng restriction. Okay, so magbabago yung status ng drug na nasa formulary na. Okay? And then the step 5 is Implementation and communication. So the decision done by the Pharmacy and Therapeutics Committee must be put into practice, and this should be widely communicated um, to the whole facility, to the workforce, to ensure compliance and safe use. So the official formulary document or kung meron mang electronic database should be updated, okay, with the decision ng PNP, the PTC, Pharmacy and Therapeutics Committee. Okay? So, i-communicate yan siya sa relevant staffs like sa mga prescribers, sa mga pharmacists, nurses, and then yung mga involved in the procurement. So, ino-notify sila that there are changes like addition or deletion of the drug through bulletins or pwedeng magpatawag sila ng meeting or magpadala ng official memo. Okay? And then the Pharmacy and Therapeutics Committee should conduct also training and education sessions for the staff on the proper use of the additional drug or i-educate nila regarding restrictions and administrations of the new or yung mga affected drugs in the formulary. So, if ma-communicate na yan lahat, the drug is added now to the procurement and supply chain list. Okay? And then, step 6 is monitoring. This is the last one, monitoring and evaluation. So, last na ito. Ang mangyayari here, syempre there is utilization review. Magmamonitor sa drug, sa prescribing patterns and adherence to any imposed restrictions are monitored. And then there should be safety tracking also. So they have to do post-marketing surveillance. And kung merong mga adverse drug reactions na na-report, itatrack yun siya. Again, particularly sa newly added drug. And then, they will also do impact assessment, yung actual na cost effectiveness and impact on the patient are assessed in real world setting. And they will do feedback for the review. So, any evidence like new evidence about the drug, its safety, its effectiveness, or even yung mga harmful effects niya, or even changes in the price may trigger na babalik sa step 1. Meaning, magre-review na naman ulit yung Pharmacy and Therapeutics Committee. This is to ensure that the formulary remains current and optimized. Okay, so that's it for the formulary process.